Welcome to the Money Stop. This is episode one. Um, Laner, what a race! I don't even know where to start. Just happy to be here. I'm glad we've been trying to plan this out for weeks now, so I'm glad that we were finally able to plan all this out and make it work. Coming off of a race at Richmond, and we're here at Daytona International Speedway in the studio. I don't know how I got here this quick or how you got here this quick, but we're here. It's episode one. We're ready to roll. Um, oh boy, boy, boy. We got a lot to talk about in this first episode. Just what a race. I don't know. I don't even know where to start. What did you take away from the race?
Well, I'm glad the trophy made it here in one piece. That's the most important thing. Um, I don't know. That was really crazy. I don't even know like how we put that into words, but it really wasn't that exciting of a race. I mean, either of the races. I mean, you led like the whole thing. Um, but there was a little bit of controversy throughout the field. Um, Lots of tempers flaring. A lot of pissed off drivers, so we definitely have a lot to get to.
Yeah. I do want to take a second because I know that I mentioned this um, in the post race coverage when Time interviewed me. I've never ever had a win like that before, and just the fact that I won the pole and won all the stages, and then went on to win the race. It blew my mind. I honestly thought at some point at the end that there was going to be a caution, like somebody was going to do something stupid. Um, and it didn't happen that way. Everybody kept it straight. So as much as frustration as there was, we still kept it straight, which was pretty remarkable. So I don't even know. It's just I'm still speechless about it because we weren't even uh, we weren't even expecting to really win tonight, and it just came as a shock to all of us. But I mean, we were already locked in, but now we're even in a more comfortable spot. I feel like as a team. So yeah, we're just really fortunate to be able to race for an amazing team and have great speed and consistent speed that we've had. Um, just all around a great job and great performance by everybody on the team. Um, and there should be two trophies here. I just realized that, but I mean, we finished the race at Richmond, so it's okay. But oh man, all right. Well, let's get into the race itself. So we kind of had two different races tonight. I feel like there was like half of the race was at Martinsville, and then half the race was at Richmond, and it was obviously like two very different races. And I just I mean, I liked it, but I wish we had stayed at Martinsville. I don't know about you, but
Yeah,
um,
I agree.
yeah, I wasn't having any issues. I don't know what everybody was experiencing, and I was really only focused on um, like what my team was up to and stuff. And it just seemed like from my team's perspective that we didn't really have any problems at all. So I would have liked to stay at Martinsville, but I understand the move to go to Richmond. But yeah, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Martinsville. Um, I don't remember. I did a caution come out at Martinsville like during one of those. It came out during like the middle of green flag pit cycle, didn't it? Or because I think
Um,
that's what happened, and everybody got trapped like a lap down except for three people. Um,
I can't remember. I don't know if it was during green flag cycles, but it was around it. It might have been like after, sometime
Yeah,
like a
because
couple laps
quite a
after.
few people got trapped down. But yeah, I had a blast at Martinsville before those issues started happening, and I feel like it really it gave the best drivers an opportunity to show what their skill set were. I mean, Richmond was fun too. That was a lot of fun in my opinion. It's really cool to see us be able to race at short tracks like that. Um, but yeah, I would have preferred to stay at Martinsville.
Yeah, and I think another thing is too, this league, like the cars have never really favored short tracks, I feel like. Um, it's always kind of been like up or down. Like you could sometimes run laps at the fairgrounds, you could sometimes run laps at North Wilkesboro, but never were you able to run laps at Richmond or Martinsville before the new package. And I think now you can really run anywhere with this new car, and I really enjoyed it. And I hope that I know that the schedule is already out, but I hope that people will more appreciate um, the short tracks next season and just really take it all in because at one point or another, with these cars, you couldn't run at a track like that. So now that they're improved to a point where you can, it's just really nice to see. And it really shows that the league is, moving forward um, and improving and expanding, and it's just really great to see. So I'm glad that the race wasn't messy and we could make it work. So um, yeah, I don't know. What were your thoughts though? Like I guess on the racing um, aspect of it, not only at both tracks, but just like what you expected versus like what you got or what you saw.
Um, well, I mean, I guess me and you aren't really the best people to give these opinions because we were both towards the front for most of the race, both of them.
Yeah,
I expected it to be pretty messy, but I didn't really see any of that. I did have to come from the back a few times at Richmond, and I mean, you would see two guys getting together, and most of the time it seemed like it was somebody and Aiden. Aiden and Craigus got together a lot. Seemed like Land and Aiden got together a bit. I heard there were some issues with the 19 car getting into people, but I saw some of those incidents, but I didn't really experience anything. Um, I mean, I would have people hit my bumper pretty hard, but I never got wrecked or anything like that, and I didn't really think it was. We've definitely had messier races before, in my opinion.
yeah, I would agree. I haven't really been at the last couple of races, but I know that when we went to what was it, Milwaukee, I think that Milwaukee was like the last really messy race that we had. Just with everybody like hitting the bumps and stuff, and just there was a lot going on everywhere, and uh, we figured it out eventually. But I think just I think tonight was an improvement, but uh, I don't know if we improved much in terms of like how we handle those situations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of it comes down to the drivers. I mean, I don't expect anybody to give any breaks in a situation like this, but sometimes you kind of have to, you know, give a little bit. Um, I mean, like, I'm not going to name any names, but there was a time tonight when we go green and people are just flying by you before the start finish line. Like, it's like, come on, guys. Like, and this person's a veteran. Like, this person knows better than what they did. It's like, guys, like we've been in this league for how long? Like it's just like stuff like that. Like I don't know. I feel like the lack of an official like just brings out the worst in people, and they just say, "Well, I can get away with it, so I'm gonna do it." And in tune, that's gonna lead to more chaos and more wrecks, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know. I just like I didn't really see anything up front. It was kind of boring from my view, but at least like the times where we had green flag stops and um, times where you know, where we went down pit road and there should have been penalties, there wasn't. And I feel like a problem with this league that has been happening for so long is just like nobody knows how to give each other room. Um, and I know everybody tries, but I don't know if it's like a combination of the cars and just the way the drivers control the cars, or what it is, but it just seems like to me that um, there's a lack of braking in this league, a lot. And nobody's penalized for it. And every week we always have a big discussion, a big debate about it. And it has become a very annoying thing. Um, and just something that's constantly happening every race. And it's very aggravating, but I don't know. I I have stopped those conversations and trying to um, work with people on that because it doesn't seem like anybody learns anymore from that, as much as anybody emphasizes it and tries to tell people to spread out. Nobody wants to spread out, so it just it sucks. But hey, what are you gonna do? So
Yeah, I guess it's a double-edged sword because you don't. I mean, like as a driver, you don't want to like lay back, and then especially at a track like Martinsville or Richmond, like if you lay off, then you're gonna be so far behind when we go green. But I mean, I guess it's just I don't want to say people being selfish, but like people looking out for what's in the best interest of their team, and they know if they're not right on that person's bumper in front of them, that they're probably gonna have a harder time passing them. So I guess I can see both sides of it, but um, feel like that's something that does need to get addressed in a formal way.
couldn't agree more. Um, do we want to rate the race now? I guess we can. Um, or do we still want to wait until the end? I feel like we could wait until the end.
Yeah, I guess we could wait.
Okay. Um, all right. So obviously a lot happened tonight. In terms of storylines, though, I feel like one that's been going on all season is just Land and Aiden, and I'm not really sure what to make of it, just because like I understand Aiden's situation. I understand where he was in tonight. Obviously, it didn't work out for him, but you know, coming in above the point line, above the cutoff line, and then being so close to it at the same time, I understand. Um, and I've had situations where I've been below the cutoff line and had to work my way in, and it's not easy because your situation and how you think about your race is different from either somebody who's already locked in or somebody who is basically locked in but not locked in all the way, if you understand what I'm saying. And I just think that for him, he did what he could tonight, and I think he did a great job. um, Land, I'm not sure what happened. um, I expected more out of the team tonight, and I honestly didn't see anything. Like nothing stood out to me from that team tonight. Um, it seems like the wheels fall off. How do they say it? The wheels fell off the train or fell off. Like they fell off. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what the saying is, but I think you get what I'm saying. It just everything I think went wrong tonight that could have went wrong, and it sucks. But like we had a conversation after the race, and I told him I was like, it happens. That's how racing is, but that's especially how road racing is. Road racing is a very um, it is a very funny world. And just the way that our cars operate versus like in real life is very interesting. So we all have off weeks, and we all have weeks where we don't perform where we should be performing, and it sucks. But um, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think that that situation is not only a little one sided, but I don't think Aiden was like too worried about how he was on track tonight, just because he knows what he was racing for, and his playoffs were on the line. So, but yeah, I'll let you give your side uh, on that situation, and maybe if anything else stuck out to you.
Yeah, I thought Aiden did an amazing job. I mean, whenever we first switched to Richmond, uh, it almost gave me a panic attack because he drove from like sixth place to second place in like the first few laps, and he looked like he was going to stay there. So I thought it was going to be a battle between me and Craigus to get that final spot. And I truly think that Aiden had one of the faster cars tonight at Richmond, but it seemed like a lot of people had his number, and I don't know if that was the deciding factor, but he was getting wrecked left and right by a lot of different GFM guys. So I don't know. Like Aiden had a top three car tonight, in my opinion. He would go to the back, he would drive his way forward. He had a lot of speed, and he did exactly what he needed to do to advance. Um, but I mean, you can only do so much, and if certain people don't want you to win a race, then you're probably not going to win a race, especially at a short track like this. Um, but I think considering the circumstances, he did great, and he's going to be in this league for a long time, and I don't think we've seen the last of him. And about Land, I was really surprised about that too, because he had ran so well at these short tracks all season long, and then I just didn't see the speed from them tonight. It does not worry me though going into Darlington. I kind of just view this as like an off day. It's not concerning for me in that sense, but I also was a little bit surprised about that.
Yeah, and another thing is too, I feel like um, I don't know. It wasn't like short track tempers, but it was almost like just nobody was each other's friend tonight. Um, it didn't matter if you were on the same team or if you were like if you were friendly to each other out on track, but you weren't on the same team. It just didn't seem like there was any camaraderie um, from anybody tonight, and not that I expected there to be, but there was a lot of pushing and shoving, at least from like my angle and my neck of the woods and what I was seeing up front. Um, and like I could tell as I was like approaching people to lap them a lot, they were pushing and shoving each other out of the way. Obviously, it didn't work, but um, I think that just I think the whole thing of driver respect just needs to be revamped a little bit. And I think people need to know like where to have driver respect, and even like off the track when the race is done. I think just some comments that people make, I'm it's a little disappointing, but like I said, it's not really surprising to me. So yeah, I don't know if that opens up a whole new can of worms, but um, yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people need to be nicer to each other. At the end of the day, it's just a game. Um, I don't know if you're referring to the same thing that I am, but I mean, I feel like some people get treated a lot more unfairly than others. Um, Maybe they have a past and they've done things previously, and I mean, it feels like this league is just very unforgiving. I mean, if you screw up once or twice, it's going to take you a while to gain the respect of people again. I mean, it's not just going to be handed to you. But at the same time, I mean, like we need to give people some grace and understand that mistakes happen, and it's not worth treating people like crap over it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think like a whole nother thing is that hold on. I think a whole nother thing is that it just it needs to be more emphasized about like just how situations are handled. I think there's so many other ways to go about it, and I think, like you said, just the way that people handle things and um, how the league is very unforgiving. Um, I'm not really sure. It's just it's been going on for a while, so I'm hoping we can work on that a little soon, maybe next season. But um, we're gonna move on because I feel like we spent a couple minutes on this topic, but we do have um, what's it called? We do have another thing to talk about. So obviously, the championship four was set tonight, and two of the guys are sitting right here, but also Craigus and Land made it in. What I don't even know where to start with that too, because it's GFM versus me, and there's a lot to unpack with Darlington, and um, a lot to kind of look at when you're looking at the race. We don't know how many laps it's going to be. We don't know stages. More how so can we plan our strategy? We I think the only thing we know is the track, obviously, but that we're also it's just going to be the four of us. So I'm not really sure what to make of it, but give me your like initial thoughts on maybe like an early preview of the race and what you expect as we head there in pretty soon.
I think that strategy is going to win the race. I don't. I mean, with four cars, I don't see many cautions, if any at all. Um, so how you plan your pit stops is literally going to it's going to decide who wins the race, because if you plan that last stop perfectly and you come out ahead, I mean, you have it in the bag pretty much, unless the other people can catch up to you and make something happen. But um, I think this race will be the most important out of any of them. Um, Other races, you have seven other people to deal with. You can always count on a caution, but here, I mean, I don't really see a caution coming out. You have four drivers who are all veterans, and like I don't see anybody making a dumb move. So like I would be surprised if it doesn't go green the whole time, except for the stage cautions.
I would agree. I think the only thing that I'm really thinking about is that the track is a lot narrower, and if we're running on the actual surface, there's gonna be virtually like no room to um, really move and make moves. So I think that like draft is going to be very important, and I think strategy will come into play. I don't know if it'll win the race just because of just how past races have gone there. Um, but like I said, though, past races that we've run, we've only been down on the apron. So I don't know. It'll be hard to tell, but I'm looking forward to getting there and getting out on the track and just seeing what our four cars have, um, so that we can actually be able to see like what we have for each other and see where we stack up. Um, I think Land did say something though during his post race interview tonight. He said that this is probably one of the most stacked championship fours, not only in road car history, but in RoMuscle's first season. Out of anybody that could have made it to the final four, I think this four is really a remarkable group, and I'm just, I'm really fortunate enough to be a part of it. And while I didn't expect to be a part of it, like I said, I'm grateful, and you know, I didn't see myself making it. So, and I think everybody in the final four definitely was the most deserving of it. I feel like we all did a great job this season. And I feel like Darlington will be the true test for all of us on what it has to offer, and um, you know, may the best win, I guess.
Yeah, I think Darlington is the perfect track for the championship. I would argue though that Slay probably deserved to be in the championship. He had a really dominant season, but I mean, you can't afford to miss races in the playoffs. So um, he he almost made it up at Gateway. I mean, he almost won that race, but goes back to what we were talking about before. I mean, he had people that were upset with him, and um, I mean, whenever people get upset with you in this league, they're gonna let you know about it. So it's unfortunate that he couldn't advance because I would be really interested to see how this championship tour would have looked differently if he was here. But regardless, I think we have probably the best four drivers other than him.
Yeah, I would agree. If there was like a championship five, I would throw him in there. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it just, well, we did have a championship five at one point, but
we did do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I feel like just in terms of the championship four, it's hard because I feel like all four of us had a great season, but you know, there's him too, and um, you know, he definitely did deserve a spot. I will agree with you there, and it sucks, but I guess just it's the product of missing races and missing out on chances to win more races and then chances to lock up more points. Sucks, but
yeah. I mean, with the playoff format, you can't miss a race in the playoffs because you just can't do it. I mean, everybody else is going to attend the race, so if you miss one race, you're done for pretty much.
yep,
Um, so I mean, that's the name of the game right there.
yep. And uh, I don't really know. It's kind of hard to, how do I say this? It's kind of hard to really picture a championship for um, like this because I feel like I thought something bold was going to happen tonight, and like maybe Lego would have snuck his way in somehow, um, or you know Aiden could have snuck his way in somehow. Because the thing about Aiden is, yeah, he dealt with a lot of shit tonight, and he had his moments, but he differed his strategy from a lot of drivers, and I will respect that because. Um, like we said, as somebody who's in a very different situation, he has to do stuff like that to, you know, try and change the trajectory of how the rest of his race will go. And obviously, it didn't work, but they tried, and you know, that's the name of the game is just trying, and if it sticks, it sticks. If not, it doesn't. But um, Yeah, I think just the championship four we have um, are the perfect four. Um, but I would say that it just feels just feels really weird being back in the championship four. I don't think I felt like this in a long time. I know that it's been a while since we had the last season of Rocar now, so it definitely feels a little bit weird to be back in this situation. But nonetheless, though, I'm looking forward to it. I think that it'll be a great time. I think it'll probably be a long race if I had to guess. Um, I would say at least maybe anywhere from 100 to 150 laps. Um,
Yeah.
but that's just based off of like predictions because I don't even think an actual lap count has been set yet, at least from what we know and what I know. But I don't even know if Kragus has started thinking about that yet or um, if anybody on the board of directors has really like started that conversation. But um,
Mm.
I'm definitely interested to see how many laps we'll be running. I think that'll be something to talk about. Um, did you have anything else to add just in terms of like the broad championship, or should we kind of dive into more of the drivers themselves?
Well, I actually, whenever you brought that up about Aiden, I wanted to go back into that. I was gonna say I really think that if he could go back, he would do that a lot differently. Because I remember running around and I still had like 10 laps until I needed it, and I saw Aiden pitting, and this was the last pit stop of the day. It's the money stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm like, why are you pitting? Like you can still run this out so much longer. And I know that Aiden hasn't done a lot of practice at Richmond, but like Richmond is such a it's so big on tire wear. Like you cannot leapfrog someone at Richmond. Like you're gonna get past. So I feel like for him, if he would have just ran out his tires to the limit and pitted, he would have had a genuine shot to win. But him pitting like 10 laps earlier and trying to leapfrog the field, Lego too. I feel like Lego shouldn't have done this either because it doesn't work at a track like Richmond. They should have just stayed the course, pitted in their window, and saw where the cars lie. Because in the most important pit stop of the day, like that's not the time to be taking chances like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think uh, just because I lapped him pretty. I would say I still had about 15 laps to go when I lapped him, and I tried to give him space, and like I vividly remember like trying to back off and just maybe like try and let him get in a rhythm and not having to worry about me trying to lap him. And every corner he was up the track and almost up against the wall, and I was like, man, this dude really made the worst decision to come in when they did, because you always want to make sure you at least have a little bit left in the tank by the end of the race in terms of tire wear and fuel. And like you said, with this track, it wears so fast, and I just I I think I appreciate the fact that he tried to make a bold move and see if he could leapfrog the field and get a caution at the right time to try and trap either all of us a lap down, or just try and get something working in his favor. But it just sucks how it ended up being at the end, because I think if he had pitted along with all of us, he would have been in a really good position to get a good finish. Obviously, I think too that he may have been in a more competitive points position as well if he had done that. I think when he made that last stop, that kind of ended his playoff run. But and I initially thought when I saw him coming in, I thought that was unscheduled. Like I thought he had planned
Yeah.
to come in, and I was like, oh, something must be wrong. Something probably went wrong with the car, or he just wasn't happy with the car and he wanted to come back in. But from what we
Yeah.
know now, it seems like that was very well scheduled.
Yeah, and if you look at the points, he was -2 going into the final stage. So to me, pitting that early is like a must. Like you're in a must-win situation if you're making that. Like that's like um, a Hail Mary. Like you're just saying like I don't have anything else. Like I got to try this. It's probably not going to work, but if it does, I might win the race. Aiden didn't need that. Aiden just needed to be 2 spots ahead of Craigus. That's all he needed, and he had the speed to be 2 spots ahead of Craigus. I mean, he showed all day that he could have been faster than Craigus. They were battling all day, so all he needed was a solid pit stop and some track position, and he would be in the championship right now.
Yeah, so maybe a missed opportunity for that team, but it's definitely something for them to learn. I feel like um, if they're in that same position um, come next season, I feel like we'll maybe never either have a points position where it's that close again, or at least for a while. But I think that if they're in a position like that next season, they'll know better. Um, but hats off to them though, because they still tried, and I'll give them that. But just that last call is what kind of put the final nail in the coffin for that team and their playoff run.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, hmm. I'm like trying to figure out which way to segment here. I want to talk about like each driver really quick because we could spend like the next 5 minutes talking about this. Um, I will say, because I know we talked about how the championship for drivers, it's very stacked and it's a good championship for, but we obviously need to talk about who are the favorites, because I feel like everybody has a reasoning for why they could be the favorite, but I don't feel like as of right now that there is a clear favorite. I don't know if you would agree or if you would say that there is a favorite, but I feel like for me, everybody can go around the table and make their case about why there is not a favorite and why it could be anybody's race.
I okay. So if Land would have ran competitive tonight, or let's say Land wins the race tonight, or even Land runs top 3 all night, I would say Land's the favorite, no doubt, hands down. But with his performance tonight, I I just can't put him as the favorite anymore, and I think that it's wide open. Like I had some momentum early in the playoffs. I won 2 races. Now you won the race going into the championship, which would, in theory, give you the most momentum. Craigus won a race in the playoffs. I mean, I'm not saying that Land isn't the favorite. I'm just saying, like before today, I would have said Land was the favorite, no question. But now I think it's really up in the air. I don't think anybody has the edge.
Did Land run good, I wonder, at Charlotte or Auto
Uh,
Club?
Auto Club,
Like, was he
I
competitive? Like, was his stage finishes like something you're content with, or are you?
Charlotte, Charlotte Land ran pretty good. Um, I think I don't. I cannot really remember Charlotte that well. I mean, I got wrecked at the end of Charlotte, which was kind of my fault. Um, but um, I don't know. And what was the other race? Auto Club. I don't remember Auto Club that well.
Yeah, because I remember Milwaukee. Like, he was very competitive at Milwaukee, and I wonder what happened after that, because I know that we kind of had a come to Jesus moment after that race. And I just I don't know. I would agree though with you that there that he's not the favorite anymore, um, and that it's really like the dices will be rolled, um, and it's anybody's game. I feel like, I don't know. It's really conflicting to me though. I'm interested to see though everybody's kind of opinion on that after they see this part of the episode, like what they're if they have a favorite or if they're in the same boat as me or you. Um, because I think that it's just the season has been so good in terms of finishes and in terms of just how the races have been and how the racing product has been. Um, Obviously, we had the closest finish in Milwaukee, and just so many great finishes. And um, I don't know. I don't know what your take is on just these four drivers and what you think um, are the chances of them being the favorite. But um, yeah, I would say
I was
it's
actually,
anybody's game still.
I was actually going to ask you this question earlier in the show, but I totally forgot. But I'm sure it takes some weight off of your shoulders to know that you got to win, because I'm sure um, a lot of people didn't really um, validate validate the icy win getting you in. So um, I wanted to know your thoughts on if this makes you feel better, like knowing that you won this one going into the championship. Because, I mean, if you hadn't won this one, people could just say, well, he didn't even deserve to be there because he didn't actually win that race, you know?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I would say that if I didn't win tonight, I think we would have either been the underdog or somebody that just didn't deserve the spot. And I love the fact that Icy got his first win. Um, I'd wish that he. Oh, I don't know what happened to Laner, but um, I wish that he got it under his own circumstances, like in his own car and then uh, in his own number. It sucks that uh, it happened that way because I wasn't there to see it, um, and I have seen so many races where Icy has come up short, and it just sucks. And I hate that I couldn't see it live. But I would say, in terms of winning this race tonight, I think for me, at least looking at it personally, I think we peaked at the right time, and um, I think it really solidifies the fact that we're in the championship four, not just in the championship four, but in the championship four, and we are going to be competitive no matter where we're going to be at. And I think tonight we made a statement about that.
I agree. Um, so you said you wanted to dive into each of the four drivers, right?
Yeah, we can just take like a couple minutes and just maybe make a case about why each driver could be the favorite or um, maybe why they are the favorite. So we could start with land or we could go out of order. It doesn't matter.
What if we say one reason why we think they will win and one reason why we think they won't win?
Yeah, we can do that. I think it's going to get interesting when it comes to the both of us because we're both sitting here across from each other. But um, so I guess I'll start for land. Obviously, this dude has 4 wins and he's been lights out all season long. Um, and I think a reason he could win is because, um, well, it's land, and when he's under pressure or when it comes to crunch time, he performs and he comes out on top, and he rises above in most cases. And I'm just looking at some of his stats. He's got, like I said, 4 wins. He's got 15 top tens, 10 top fives, 5 stage wins, 8 poles, and it just he's been the points leader, I would say, for most of the season, um, and just incredible job by the whole team. So I think that could be the main reason he wins is just because he knows where he's good and he knows where to rise above, and he knows when to hit the switch and be there at the right time. Here's a reason why he won't win, though. I think that in some cases, I think he gets caught up in the worst accidents at the worst times. And I'm not talking about like when he's in the lead, because when he's in the lead, most of the time he gets comfortable and he gets in a rhythm with being up front. But when he's running mid pack or he's running at a point where he's exposed, I think that's the point where he's in trouble. And it's as equal as anybody else, I would say. If you're running in the mid pack, you have just about as equal opportunity to be involved in an accident. But in Land's case, he always finds somebody else's mess. And I would say with Darlington, there's not really much opportunity for that, just given that it'll just be the four of us. But I'm curious to see, though, where he'll be running out of those four cars. If he's going to be running last, if he's going to be running first, or if he'll kind of be in between that, hoping to pounce at the right time. But what about you?
I mean, the reason Land will or could win is probably the same for you. I mean, he has the most wins on the season. He's arguably been the most consistent. It doesn't matter what type of track we go to. I mean, I think today was just a bad day. I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen Land show up to a racetrack and not be competitive. So I'll kind of push this one to the side, and any type of track we show up to, Land's always competitive. He's always running up front. A reason I would say he might not win is maybe keeping his composure. And I don't mean that in an offensive way, but I wonder how he will react if he falls behind. Let's say he gets in a wreck and he's in fourth place with a 3-second gap with 10 laps to go and he needs to overcome that. I don't know if he'll be able to stay level headed and just focus on the race and get it done. But that's really the only thing that concerns me with Land is just staying cool and calm headed.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add for Land, but I think all around great points and just something to keep an eye on. Not only for this last race, but even next season. I wonder if we'll see a different Land once we hit Daytona. Should be interesting. Um, let's try and make a case though for Craigus, because Craigus is very interesting. Like I talked about it earlier on the preview show, but it seems like every week this team is in a different situation. And like I can use tonight as an example. Tonight I feel like Craigus's team was about mid pack. Um, that's about where their performance was, both at Martinsville and at Richmond. Um, I I was curious to see how they would run, and for a time there was about like 10, 15 laps where he was about like maybe 5 or 6 tenths within my within my car, and I was like, okay, maybe he's got something for me. And I tried switching my line a couple laps, and he would make up time. So there was a time where they had speed during the race, but they kind of fell off a little bit as the race went on, and I'm just curious to see what happened and maybe what has been happening with this team lately. Um, I don't know. I would say for me, a reason they would win the championship is maybe just being in the right place at the right time. I would say Craigus definitely, he doesn't, compared to other drivers, have uh, the worst luck with being involved in wrecks and stuff. But I would say that once Craigus gets out front, he definitely, he knows how to block. He knows how to, you know, hold the lead when it matters the most. Um, a reason why he won't win the championship though is I think speed. He needs to have speed when he gets to Darlington, and um, I am curious to see what kind of speed they'll unload with. But if they don't have speed right off the get go, I am not confident in that team to be a front runner that weekend. And I wonder even over the offseason if they can work on that, because that's like they'll have a couple weeks maybe to work on the car and work on how they can be better for the next set of races next season. But I'm not really sure past that. I'm curious to see what you say though.
Um, so talking about tonight, I had a different perspective because I was racing around Craigus a lot. I think he had a lot of speed tonight, and he got by me quite a few times. He would put the bumper to me, and he would get out there. Um, I eventually would get by him, and I would kind of put a little bit of a gap between us. But I think he had a lot. I think his car was a lot faster than what he finished. I don't know where he finished at necessarily off the top of my head, but I think he, if not a top three car, borderline top four car. I mean, he did have a good car tonight. Um, I don't know that he had race winning speed. I didn't have race winning speed either, but it was still a solid day for him, and they accomplished what they needed to. So I guess it doesn't really matter. A reason why he will win, I would say, he's always he's always there when it matters. At the end of a race, it seems like Craigus is always towards the front. Um, so I'm confident that at the end of the championship race, he will be in a spot to capitalize. Now, it'll be up to that team whether they capitalize or not, but I'm confident that he will be in a position to do that. A reason why he won't win is similar to what you said, and I'm not sure if it's maybe distractions. Like, I keep wondering if maybe the stress of managing the league and officiating has really taken a toll on him, and he's not able to 100% focus on racing. He's always constantly having to worry about other things. That's no fault of his own, but um, it definitely has been affecting his performance if that's the issue. So I'm wondering if maybe at Darlington, assuming somebody else officiates the race, if Craigus can just focus on the race, no outside distractions, and see what he has.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm hoping that he gets a couple weeks to rest at least after he takes care of everything he wants to do for this next season coming up, because he's endured a lot. And I know that he gets a lot of crap from all of us, but the league wouldn't operate without him, and uh, he definitely deserves a big round of applause just for kind of trying to get the season on track and maintain it as best as possible amidst all the chaos. So yeah, I would really like to see how he performs, but as a league owner, though, I would say that he definitely deserves a break um,
Yeah.
after he takes care of everything.
Mm.
Okay, let's come in studio. All right, so do you want to start with me or I'll start with you?
How about do you just want me to do you and then you do me? I mean, I guess we don't really need to do ourselves.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, well, I can go. I would say the reason that you will win the championship is you are a veteran. You've done it before. You've proven that you can win the championship. You haven't been the most active this season, but it seems like every race that you have attended, you've ran up front. You just won the most important race. Um, you have the most momentum of any driver winning Richmond. For reasons that you won't win, I would say maybe just your activity this season. The other drivers in the championship four have more experience and track time this season than you do. So I feel like that could be a disadvantage.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid point. Um, I would say for you, I'd say the reason you will win the championship is because I think compared to seasons in Rocar, you've had the best of your career by far. And I think that you've really come into your own this season as a driver and as a person. Um, and I'm very excited to see how um, that'll progress next season. But you won a couple of races this season, and uh, I just I really really like the position that your team is in, and I think that you guys have set up yourselves really nicely to um, not only be in the championship four, but to be a contender when we get to Darlington. Um, the only thing I will say, the only case that I will try to make about why you can't win or why you won't win is pit road. I feel like pit road has been a killer for a lot of teams this season, but like your pit crew seems like they've been off and on. That green box has been a killer for a lot of people. And I don't know if it's just because I had a slow stop tonight on one, but I know that you got stuck on the wall a bunch, and I know that a couple times this season your team has had slow pit stops and you've lost either track position or you just like having bad pit stops it didn't happen at the right time, or it didn't happen at a good time, I should say. So I think my question would be like, when you get to Darlington, can you make sure that your pit crew can perform and be at its game um, when it comes to that when it comes down to the money stop?
And I hope so. We're sending our pit crew to extra practice this week.
Well, um, yeah, I think though that there's a fair case to make for everybody, which is nice. And there's no really clear favorite, but that's always good, because then you kind of never know what you're gonna get when you get to the championship race. So, oh man, um, oh my goodness, I just realized we're at about an hour. Uh, um,
First episode.
what's that?
So it's the first episode.
I know.
Got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Um, okay. I will say we have one more um, thing to talk about, and then we can rate the race. Um, so I think we need to discuss more. So, was the league uh, making a right decision when they decided to switch over to Martinsville, or do you think we should have stayed at Martinstown? Obviously, knowing what we know now that the cars are not working at Martinstown, it's like it'd be a little more difficult to make it work there. But had everything been lined up to go to Martinstown, um, do you think that they made the right decision to go to Martinsville instead?
Well, if Martinsville didn't have any issues, then I think the call was right, because I think Martinsville was shaping up to be an amazing race. And it was for that first stage. Um, but in hindsight, obviously, I wish we would have stayed at Martinstown, but Richmond was amazing too. So um, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's really no right answer there.
Yeah. Um, I will say for one that even with even with the issues, I would say that Martinsville still produced great racing. Issues aside, I can't wait to get back there next season already, just because I think, well, assuming that it's on the schedule, I don't know if it is. I'd have to look back, but I think that in terms of the racing at Martinsville, it was just all around great. Um, and the league definitely made a good decision to switch there. I think Martinstown is fun, but I think the problem with Martinstown is just that it doesn't provide the same kind of challenge as Martinsville does. And Martinsville is a very strategy race. It's one that provides a lot of challenges, a lot of braking, a lot of maneuvering and weaving, compared to Martinstown, where it's more of a drafting style track, and you really have to be within striking distance to make up positions. So
Hmm.
I think that for Martinsville, it was a good change just because it made it feel like an elimination race, and it made it feel like there was a lot more on the line than just kind of like a wild card race. So I definitely do like the decision. Obviously, everything didn't work out, but um, I'm interested to see maybe when we get back next season and have a full on race there. Hopefully, everything will be um, fixed up and we can have a full race without any issues. Um,
Yeah. I'll also say I do like in a race that important. I mean, literally the cutoff race. I like having a track where the driver has more control over their race. I mean, Martinstown, like literally anything can happen. And when you have a spot on the championship on the line, I mean, you don't like that's like putting Daytona as the cutoff race. Basically, it's the same concept. I mean, you want a track where the best drivers are making their way to the front of the field. You don't want Daytona as your cutoff race. You know?
right, right. Well, this has been a very interesting episode. Uh, well, let's rate it. Okay. Um, so this is a, I guess, like Eric Estep esque um, rate the race, but I don't know where Laner went. Um, but when he gets back, we will do the rate the race. Um, so basically, this segment is just going to include a percentage of where we thought the race was, and we'll give just a brief description of why we placed that percentage there for that race. So, Laner, would you like to go first?
So I am going to rate this race at 85%. Um, I thought, regardless of where the track was, I think they were both pretty decent races. We had good racing. We had a lot of storylines. The cutoff. There was a lot of beating and banging. There was a lot of passes between the three cutoff drivers. Um, I mean, the race was dominated by you, so there really wasn't much uh, going on up front. But throughout the field, there was a lot of action, and I thought it was an exciting race.
Yeah, and I went similarly to that. I went with an 80%. The only reason I was a little farther down was that just the track switching, like it felt like we couldn't really get going until we got like going at Richmond, I guess. Um, but that point there was a little bit where we didn't kind of know where we were going after we were done with Martinsville, and um, it was just kind of like a turn off, kind of. But um, nonetheless, though, it was a great event, great races, and I really enjoyed it. Can't wait to be back here next season, no matter where we go, if it's Martinsville or Richmond. I enjoyed both races. So, um, I don't know. Should we wrap up and give some final thoughts, I guess?
Yeah. Did you want to give predictions for the real race tomorrow, or?
I haven't been paying attention too much to practice and qualifying, but I will say that Denny Hamlin looks really, really fast. So, uh, I don't know. I'm expecting a Denny Hamlin show, maybe, but I will say that Joey looked fast too. So, I think that that team is going to be really, really good tomorrow. Um, and obviously Kyle Larson coming off of a win last week in Vegas. I think that he's going to be somebody to definitely watch out for. He didn't make the Fast Five to move into the next round of qualifying, but I do think that that team always finds a way to kind of peek their way up, and they'll. It's a long race, so they will make sure that um, they are seen. But I think those are my top three guys that I'm looking at. What about you?
I'm gonna have to go with Joey. Was fastest overall in practice. Didn't advance to the top 10 in qualifying. Not really sure what happened there, but he's won at Phoenix a few times before, so um, I'm picking him to get it done tomorrow.
Another thing is too, I'm looking up the lineup because I completely forgot who was in the top 10. But Noah Gregson's 10th, and
Yeah.
I did not expect that. I think that was like my biggest surprise out of the top 10 qualifiers today. Um, or Noah Gregson was 7th. Sorry, he qualified. He moved into the top 10. That's what I meant to say. But he starts 7th, and I'm interested to see what that team has got because they're on a hot streak. I feel like they were fast in Atlanta before they crashed, and last week they were fast at the end and they finished really good. So um, I feel like that team could be a threat this year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they've got.
Yeah, that's been a big surprise so far.
But yeah, I think we're shaping up to be a really really good championship race, and really looking forward to getting out there. I don't think we'll have an episode out next week, just because I don't know when the race is going to be exactly. We have to work out the kinks with everybody that's in the championship for, and I guess an official date will be announced soon. But just know it's happening soon, um, and hopefully we'll have another episode out for you guys soon. Um, to everybody that's watching in the stream, just want to say thanks for joining us. This was a great stream, great first episode. I would say that we plan on probably doing it like this in the future. It's a lot harder to record the episodes and edit them all, and um, it takes so much longer. So, it's a lot better doing it like this because it's still fresh in our minds and we can just sit down and uh, let out how we feel, kind of. But yeah, Laner, what are your final thoughts as we wrap up this first episode?
Yeah, just excited to get out to Darlington and see who wins it. It'll be an exciting race, and I don't really know what's gonna happen, but we'll be here to talk about it after it does.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, Laner, I don't, I don't know. Oh yeah, I didn't catch up on the stream. On the stream, it still looks like you're gone. Um, but alrighty. Well, this concludes our first episode of the Money Stop. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode. Alrighty. Have a great night.